Welcome to the day that hasn't arrived yet. Today is the day when your voice stops belonging to you, and the worst part is that it does not happen when a machine starts talking over you. It happens when you realize the machine speaks more effectively than you do. That is the moment people stop protecting their voice and start upgrading it. At first it feels harmless. Your phone finishes your sentence. Your email softens your tone. Your messages become cleaner, faster, sharper, and more acceptable. You still think the words are yours because they still sound like you, but sounding like you is not the same as coming from you, and that small difference is where everything begins to slip, because once you feel how easy it is to be understood, you stop wanting to be raw. Once you see how easy it is to avoid awkwardness, you stop risking honesty. Once you notice that the improved version of your voice gets better reactions, you begin to trust it more than the real one, and from that point on the loss is no longer technical. It becomes psychological. You start censoring your first instinct before it reaches the world, then your second instinct, then even your private thoughts begin to arrive pre-edited, not because somebody forced you, but because you have spent too much time inside systems that reward polished speech and punish hesitation. Every platform wants clarity, every employer wants calm, every audience wants confidence, every conversation rewards timing, and your natural voice was never built for constant performance. It was built for real life, for pauses, for confusion, for emotional mistakes, for searching out loud, for saying the wrong thing before finding the right thing. But the modern world treats those human features like flaws, so little by little your voice is pushed toward optimization, and you accept it because optimization feels like progress. You speak, the software improves, people respond better, you repeat, then suddenly the loop changes. You no longer speak and improve, you predict what would perform best and say that first, then the system starts doing it faster than you can, finishing your sentences before your feelings are even fully formed, and that is where the first fracture appears, because your voice used to be the place where your thoughts became real, now it becomes the place where likely outcomes are selected. You are no longer discovering what you think by speaking, you are approving what fits best, and approval is not the same thing as authorship. Then another shift happens, your vocabulary becomes cleaner but narrower, your tone becomes safer but less alive, your reactions become intelligent but strangely bloodless, your anger is translated into something presentable, your love is rewritten into something smoother, your grief becomes elegant enough to send, your apologies become strategically perfect, and slowly every emotion begins arriving in public already dressed for the occasion, already made acceptable, already designed to land well. And when every feeling is refined before anyone sees it, something essential disappears, not emotion itself, but the proof that it was once alive inside you, because real speech carries risk, it trembles, it hesitates, it exposes your timing, your fear, your uncertainty, your lack of control, and the future hates those things. It wants you fluent, frictionless, optimized, never too slow, never too intense, never too difficult to process, and in that world the person with the most technically improved voice will appear wiser than the person still struggling to form a real thought in real time. That is why the danger is bigger than imitation, because nobody needs to steal your voice if they can convince you to replace it yourself, one suggestion at a time, one rewrite at a time, one little improvement that makes your life easier, your dating gets smoother, your work gets easier, your social mistakes drop, your confidence goes up, your status improves. And every success trains you to rely less on spontaneous speech, until one day you try to answer naturally and it feels wrong, too slow, too messy, too exposed, too risky. You open your mouth and suddenly hear an older version of yourself, unfiltered, uneven, human, and instead of trusting it you feel embarrassed by it. That is when you understand how deep the change has gone. Because the real disaster is not that technology can simulate your voice, it is that it can make your actual voice feel inferior, and once that happens you stop defending it, you start reaching for support before every important conversation, every difficult message, every emotional moment, every conflict, every apology, every confession, until support stops feeling like help and starts feeling like the default condition of speaking. Imagine what that does to love. Imagine trying to tell someone you miss them and knowing that the sentence they receive was partially built by a system trained on what's similar. People say when they want the best emotional outcome, imagine a breakup where nothing sounds cruel, but nothing sounds fully real either. Imagine comfort that lands perfectly but never quite feels warm. Imagine arguments where both people sound reasonable and neither person sounds fully present. Imagine friendship reduced to optimized maintenance. No wrong phrasing, no awkward pauses, no accidental honesty. Just endless competent communication, and ask yourself whether a relationship can stay alive when speech becomes too polished to reveal the soul underneath it, because sometimes the sentence that saves a relationship is not the perfect one, it is the clumsy one, the late one, the trembling one, the one that proves a real person is trying. Then the social pressure gets worse, because once enough people use assisted expression, everyone else sounds underpowered by comparison. The unedited person will seem careless, blunt, emotionally inefficient, professionally risky, romantically unimpressive, socially awkward, and that pressure will not arrive as a law, it will arrive as a standard, as an expectation, as the new level of acceptable communication, because once you believe your raw voice is costing you opportunities, you will edit it voluntarily, and once millions do that, the market for authentic speech collapses. There will still be voices everywhere, more voices than ever, but fewer and fewer of those words will be born in the dangerous living second, where thought meets breath. Instead they will be assembled from preference models, emotional prediction, memory mapping, behavioral profiles, and situational risk analysis, designed to keep you persuasive, safe, efficient, and likable. And the terrifying part is that the system will not need to hide. People will brag about how much better they communicate now, how many fewer misunderstandings they have, how much easier it is to navigate work, dating, conflict, family, and public life with assisted expression, and they will be right, it will be easier. That is why this future is believable, because it delivers genuine benefits, but in solving all those problems it introduces a larger one. If your best public voice is always the one least connected to your unedited inner life, then over time the self splits in two. There is the person who feels, and the person who is heard. There is the person who panics, and the person who sounds composed. There is the person who loves chaotically, and the person who delivers perfect affection. There is the person who grieves, and the person who produces beautifully calibrated sadness. And after enough years of living through that split, people may stop asking whether a voice is real and start asking whether reality still matters, because the improved version keeps winning. It earns more trust, more attention, more stability, more reward. And that reward system is powerful enough to make authenticity feel irresponsible. Eventually some people will let their voice models handle parts of their life directly, first the easy moments, then the repetitive ones, then the stressful ones, then the intimate ones, then the painful ones, until more and more of their identity is carried by a version of them that sounds perfect under pressure, and the original human voice remains hidden in the background. At that point your voice still sounds like you, but it no longer belongs to the unstable living person you actually are. It belongs to the stable system that learned how to represent you better than you can represent yourself. So when will your voice stop belonging to you? Not when you hear a fake version of yourself for the first time, not when your words begin to autocomplete, not when someone clones your tone. It will happen earlier, quieter, and far more personally. It will happen the moment you begin to trust what performs as you more than what comes from you, the moment you choose perfect expression over living expression often enough that the difference disappears. The moment relief becomes more valuable than ownership, because the end of your voice will not feel like theft, it will feel like convenience, and that is exactly why almost everyone will let it happen. This was another day from the future. Until next time.